MK Cypher Films is an independent production company based in Enfield, London, UK. We produce documentaries, short feature films, social media videos, and provide photography studio space for weddings, christenings, and corporate videos.
The uniting together of two podcasts. It kind of feels like a little bit Russian dolls. A little bit Russian dolls is coming to me. There's a little podcast.
I'm on the small one.
In a big one. In a big one, yeah. In a big one. So I'm very grateful. The Creative Shake-Up podcast is the podcast that I host on my own YouTube channel. Paul Candelent has very, very kindly enabled me to film a shared podcast together through the True podcast here today. So, Paul, thank you so much. Wonderful to be with you.
Bless you.
And I'm so grateful you said yes to my question, my little question in some ways. Would you consider being a guest for me? And you said yes.
To be honest,
You had to because you're here.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, I'm here, but I wasn't. I promised myself I'd never do this because I'm not in the industry to make myself look cool or great or big myself up or anything like that. I did a few when I first started because obviously when you first start, everything's exciting and new, and I was like, yeah. But the more I did it, the more I didn't like it. So I said to myself, I'll never do it again. I'm not doing it. And then
here you are.
Yeah, and then you put me on the spot and asked me the question. And it sort of did put me on the spot because, one, I know who you are, so I trust you.
Thank you.
So I've got no problem with that. I know you've got no hidden agendas anyway, so again, that took out of the question. And thirdly, I trust, you've got the trust aspect for me is a massive part, and it's there. So I couldn't really say no. I was running out of.
Thank you.
I was running out of excuses. I tried every reason in the book to say no, but I couldn't. So yeah, I said yes.
I never realised I was that persuasive, yeah. But you said yes, so thank you. So I think for me you're a serial sharer, and I want to give you a little bit of a health and safety warning before we begin.
Don't sound good.
Prepare yourself for love and gratitude, because I genuinely am. What you're enabling myself and John Cheetham to do through the True podcast at the moment and outside of is absolutely epic. So you're a voice for others who are trying to find their way, get heard, get known in terms of wanting to share their life and what's happened for them. So that's real massive for me to want you to know that before we begin.
Oh, it's nice of you to say because I am for the people that get overlooked. I am for the people that are looking for a direction and people that don't really necessarily get heard. And I'm for them people. Normally, I'll be honest, my mouth engages a lot faster than my brain does, so it gets me into a lot of trouble. But I do mean everything with love that I do. And basically, I'm just here to get people's voices heard. That was the whole reason behind True Podcasts.
And faith is very reasonable to say so, as well as love. Faith is very important.
Without faith, I am not who I am.
Yeah.
Without faith, that cornerstone isn't there. Without faith, nothing means anything. Yeah. And I'm quite aware, very aware that I'm not doing this. This isn't me doing this career. I'm fully aware of that. But what I do need to do is do the best that I can, as humble as I possibly can. But along the way, do what I need to do outside my comfort zone. Hence why I started the podcast show. Because I'd never hosted anything in my life. And for MK to not only take the risk, which it was a big risk, but to give me the confidence to actually do it myself was massive for me. And I'll be forever grateful for him.
Fantastic.
For showing me the not only the confidence but the gratitude that working with such a good producer and best friend, you know, it's a blessing. And I laugh because it's not often you get a producer and a best friend. You know, producers normally hard to work with because they're so full on. But MK's pretty much rock solid.
That's a lot of where you are now, and I thought if we shared this opportunity of chat, discussion, whatever you want to call it, that it's kind of like a present day sandwich is the way I'd like to describe it, and what I want you to share. So you've begun already. You're sharing what's happening now. Then I want to spend a little bit of time on some things that have brought you to where you are now. What are the reasons why you want people that are perhaps not heard per se to be heard more, and creating a platform that's a voice for others. And then, of course, a little bit of the conclusion as to how people can reach out, find you, connect with a True podcast, for example, and the other things you're doing. So you've explained a little bit on the podcast. How can people access the podcast? What kind of guests have you got? What things are happening at the moment?
Well, we're on YouTube. We're about to go on to Spotify. I think it's Apple as well. But that's all down to MK. That's I trust MK fully with what he's doing. And the reason was to get podcasts going is because people are scared nowadays to say exactly what they feel. People are too scared to stand up for themselves in case they get labelled either a racist or a big, which trust me, I've been labelled all these labels before and more. So trust me, there's no more labels you can put on me. And of course, I'm none of them. I am who I am, and a lot of common sense seems to be non-existent now. So when people see things for what they are, they're too scared to say what they see. You know, they like to go with the narrative. And I'm sorry, the narrative at the moment nowadays is so far off the scale that no wonder people are lost, no wonder people are scared, no wonder people are quiet. So this is that basically I started True Podcast, so to go off piece of it, was to give back people that a voice, a platform where they can come on. If they want to swear, they can swear. If they don't want to swear, then don't. And we could talk about anything you want, talk about anything you don't want to talk about. We could talk about any subject, any political stance or movement that's going on. But most of all, if you don't want to talk about any of that, we can just talk about you and your life story and what other people who are watching the podcast can take away. And with a few of our guests that have been on lately, and that's what's happened. So I feel that already in season 1 we've done our job. So everything after this is a blessing. And that's what it is, this job. I mean, it's not really work, really, is it? Not compared to what I used to do for work, which was all labour-intensive work. But this isn't work for me. This is more messing about and having fun, really, isn't it? It is, really. And I can get paid to do it, which for me is a blessing. Yeah. So whether I'm with Daniel Day-Lewis, Sean Bean, Samuel L. Jackson, or yourself, or John, it doesn't matter to me. You know, we're all creatives. We're all in the same industry, just a bit richer than everyone else. But you know, that's not to say that success is measured with money, because if it was, then I'd be a failure. But
MK Cypher Films is an independent production company based in Enfield, London, UK. We produce documentaries, short feature films, social media videos, and provide photography studio space for weddings, christenings, and corporate videos.
So sharing others' lives, very much so. What would you feel comfortable sharing of your life story that's brought you to wanting to share other people's life story? So what things have happened in your experience that have made you desire? So we've just recorded an interview, and you've asked me about my throat cancer experience, and I've shared really in a way that was a catalyst for me wanting to amplify the voice of others. So that's the change for me. John, in Fall Guy, John's experience is the creativity, the rise again, the value of life. John shares, live every day like it's your last, learn every day like it's your first. Yeah. And I think these kind of lived experiences are the thing that makes us do the thing that we're doing now. So you've mentioned you've done quite a considerable amount of acting with a number of different people that could be deemed to be, famous celebrities, and you're doing a podcast of people who, to be fair, are like me. So what I'm interested to know is what's happened in your life that's created that desire for you to do that.
That's a good question. Where do I begin? I suppose in my life, I've still got a picture to this today. I had a picture on our wall in my mum and dad's house. I was a shy kid, very shy. Didn't really mix that well, only with the friends that I was comfortable with. And I entered a breakdancing competition when I was on holiday in Weymouth. It was at Haven Holiday Park in Weymouth. At 1991.
I know it.
Do you know it?
Yes,
Weymouth Bay,
yeah.
And I had a breakdancing competition and I won. Yeah. But I snuck off because I didn't tell mum and dad where I was going. I didn't want anyone who I knew to come and watch me. And when I was down to the last final two, I saw my mum and dad in there because they followed me up. And I won. And it was the first thing I'd ever won, really. And I went on to play a few years at football, and that was semi-successful.
America, is that right? You played,
my success was in America. I should have gone to Scotland, really, when I had the chance, but I chose America. Yeah, and ever since then, I didn't really do much after that. It was back to normal life, and that really sucks, if I'm honest. I didn't really achieve anything of any essence, really. Just new normal labour-intensive work. And then all this happened, and it made me see another side of life. It made me see that everyone's born with a success. Everyone's born with a genius, that would take them on to success. But it's up to you to find that genius, whether it's an actor, whether it's a writer, whether it's a singer, whether it's an artist, whether it's whatever your passion may be. And with the way the world is at the moment, it's geared up for you to not succeed. It's geared up for you to fail in every way possible. So if I can be just a little glimmer of light to anybody that's looking to succeed, I don't mean just in acting. I mean, it could be anything, whatever they want to do. Then ask me, and I'll tell you what I'm doing. Now, the reason I say that is because I asked Roger the same question. And Roger Clark, big shout out to Roger. I love you, dude, with all my heart, man. He's a self-made millionaire, but he was living at his mum's when I first met him back in 20.
We'll join the party after.
Yeah, I'm not even going to catch that yawn. About 23, 4 years ago, something like that. The guy's never done me wrong, never given me one bit of advice. Led me to the Lord, and I was going somewhere with that then. I forgot where I was going with it. But Roger Clark is single-handedly the most influential person that I've ever had in my life, as professional ways and friendship ways. And this career change has not only shocked him, but it gave me a reason to say thank you for being so patient with me, because he was always saying he's always seen someone different in me. You've just got to have more faith in yourself, and that's what I didn't have, was confidence in myself whatsoever. I didn't.
What do you think was one of the most defining experiences that you've had that helped you to be aware that there was more in yourself? Because sometimes you've just mentioned other people can see something, can't they? Other people can see something in somebody and highlight that or even diminish it, tragically. But I wonder with yourself, the abilities you have, the desire to perhaps not be doing the job you were doing when you were doing it. Sort of, I come from a groundwork background. I used to work in water mains, back in the day of pitch of sledgehammer. I can't think of the word now. grafter, sort of by hand, everything by hand. So, hard manual labour. And it sounds like that's
much the same.
you.
Yeah.
So was there something inside you that made you feel that there was more than you were experiencing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes. But I never pursued that.
Yeah. What stopped you?
Confidence.
Okay.
Yeah. And it was the same as with my football. I was told by everyone I was a great goalkeeper, but by me. Take from that what you will.
Yeah.
And the same aspect happened when all this happened. This career wasn't even on the cards. It wasn't even a fart in the wind. It was, it was something you dream of doing. It doesn't even come true in your dreams. And somehow this became a reality. And I was given a chance in a big blockbuster movie called Fantastic Beasts. If you can do this, you've got a career. If not, go back to your day job. Luckily for me, it all took off. It worked. But that was because that was where I was going with it. I had faith. It was where I was meant to be. Now, I prayed on this for ages. This is where I was going. So I lost myself earlier on.
All right.
And I asked Roger, when Roger became successful, I said, dude, what are you doing? What are you doing that I'm not aware of? He went, I'm praying, but I'm praying seriously. I'm taking my faith seriously. I was like, yeah, well, what else are you doing? There's something else that you're doing. He said, I'm not doing anything. Ironically, when people asked me the same thing, because I prayed on everything, and it was to take, trust me, this is where he's meant to be. I was like, how? I'm not trained. I'm not qualified in this. So how's it going to happen? And it did. Now, when people asking me what do I need to do? I don't know. I don't know what to say other than pray on it. Now, I can only say that because it was the same question I asked to Roger. And when he said to pray, I was like, yeah, no, but you must be doing something else. And he wasn't.
Do you think in some ways... So
I don't get everything. I just want to say that when I pray, I don't get everything. I don't... And whatever I do...
Every single
whatever I
request
don't
you
get,
make.
I don't really hang myself on it anymore. Okay, I've not got it for a reason.
Yeah.
But I find that something else always comes
I'm
along.
interested in that because I'm somebody who has had a belief system. I wouldn't even describe it as a faith, even though I thought it was a faith at the time. Okay. I'm somebody who's had a belief system and then not had a belief system, not had that belief system. That's beginning to alter a little bit for me in my experience of life. So I'm interested to know your experience of reliance, because that's how I'm hearing it. So it's ultimately relying on something that is beyond yourself, when you're praying, yeah? Is there something you could share with those who are with us that perhaps don't necessarily have a belief system, a religion, that could still potentially have that same reliance? Because if somebody's got a belief, a faith, I'm not saying it's easy, but to some degree it's easier. I've had that. I've got problems at the moment. I need to pray, which is a typical thing to do. I'm interested if you think you could share a message of encouraging that reliance in others beyond themselves.
The best or easiest way, whichever way you want to look at it, that I can put it is when you're in a situation that you're not really sure of and you get that inner feeling of telling you what to do, right? Normally, when you ignore that inner feeling, it goes wrong, does it not?
Yes.
And you sometimes say, oh, we should have listened to that. We should have listened to that. That's not you talking. You're on your own. So who else is it talking to you? You've obviously probably got a program inside you which is called you're all born with the spirit. Now, the person that created that spirit, that's the way he talks to you. That's the way he talks to you. So when he talks to you, you can either brush it off as a gut feeling. Right? Guts don't talk to you. Gut is a piece of meat inside your body. It's an organ. It doesn't talk. Okay? It's your spirit that talks to you. And it's not a gut. It's not an organ. It's a spirit that talks to you. So when you listen to that spirit, good or bad, it can tell you something. Spirits aren't always good. Trust me. Depends what kind of person you are. If you're saved, 9 times out of 10, you're going to listen to the good right advice that you're given. And when I was praying on certain things, it doesn't even have to be work, it could be anything. No matter how wrong it sounds at the time, or how mad it sounds at the time, to take that advice, you take it, because further on down the line, you're like, "Ooh, I'm glad I listened. I'm glad I listened to that voice." Now, you can either put it down to a voice, or you could put it down as God trying to talk to you. Now, he'll do it in certain ways. He'll do it through people. He'll do it through an event, or he'll do it through that feeling. Trust that feeling a lot more than what you do. It's like when, hold out your hand to me, close your eyes, close your eyes. Right, what am I doing?
Tickling my finger or rubbing my finger, whatever way you want to describe it.
And how do you know that? Because you can't see.
No.
But you can feel it, right?
Yeah.
Trust that feeling a lot more than what you do. Right?
Whoa.
Yeah.
For me,
trust that feeling a lot more than what you do.
Personally.
You can't see me stroking your hand.
No.
But you can feel it.
So I had 25 to 30 years of a very, very strong, I don't want to use the term faith again, but a pattern I was following. That is one of the most profound things I've ever heard. Genuinely. Because that is accessible to people who have that feeling. Yeah. That's why I think that's really, really important to just, you know, as a podcast host, just to let that moment kind of pause for a moment, because for me, and not just for me, because when I'm considering what you're sharing, I'm thinking how valuable that is to other people. So if you think having a faith, a belief system, a religion causes you to know the answers to a number of different things generally, because you've got things that you can reference.
Yeah.
So what I'm sharing with you is the power of what you've just shared is accessible to even people that don't have that. But it creates an awareness that you cannot deny the feeling. I love that.
Stevie Wonder couldn't see, but he played the best music you've ever heard.
Yeah, true.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So in order to accomplish something, you don't really have to see it. You just got to know it's there, you know? And that's what Jesus gave you. That's what Jesus died on the cross to give you. Right, it's finished. So when if you're in America and you create and you commit a crime, there's a bond that can be paid for your release. So someone will come along, pay your bond, and you can go home. So everything that you did wrong, everything that I did wrong, everything that everyone did wrong, he paid for it. It's done. It's paid. It's done. It's finished. So as soon as you understand that promise that's made to you, as soon as you understand that everything good is yours, all you've got to do is claim it. As soon as you understand that in order to do so, you have to live within a certain principalities of the way you conduct your life. You can't just go around committing habitual sin and expect to be rewarded for it. You know, you can't live like that. It's not what Jesus said. That's not the promise that he gave.
MK Cypher Films is an independent production company based in Enfield, London, UK. We produce documentaries, short feature films, social media videos, and provide photography studio space for weddings, christenings, and corporate videos.
It's not a blank check that you can do.
It doesn't mean that
I've
paid £1 million ransom or bail just so you can go out and rob another bank. It doesn't work like that. You know what I mean? I've given you a second chance.
It's abuse of that.
Yeah, don't abuse that responsibility. So when people see me, I don't want them to see me as a podcaster. I don't even want to see me as an actor. I don't even want to see me as someone who necessarily is anything special. You know, I'm just saved and I'm a chosen person. Now, if I can pass that on, if I can pass that baton on, and they can receive the same as what I did, then enjoy it. But don't keep hold of it. Pass it on, pass it on, pass it on, pass it on. Otherwise, a relay is not a relay, is it? It's just a walk.
Sometimes people talk about ripple effect. That's what I'm hearing in what you're saying. Vibration. So it creates a domino ripple effect, if you like, of if we gain something, we need to give something. My view of money, if I explain that to you in reflecting back what you've just said. I think if I receive, I give, because ultimately there's no point in me holding on to it. Because if I hold on to it, it's not actually achieving anything.
Well, if you hold on to it, it's not worth anything.
Absolutely. So with you, with your experience, that's what I'm feeling. You sharing, and I think is beautiful. I really, really do feel it's beautiful.
But let me stress something that's very important. Without family, I wouldn't be where I am today. Without parents, I wouldn't be where I am today. Without anything, I wouldn't be where I am today. Everything that I'm here, the reason I'm here is because of my parents. The reason I am here is because God blessed me into a wonderful family to be born in. A family where, okay, they punished you when I did wrong, and so be it. But they also rewarded me as much as they could when I was growing up. They gave me everything they possibly could. So now it's my turn to take that responsibility and look after them, to change their life in their later years, like they did for me in my young years. They work their fingers to the bone, like many parents do, to give the kids a second or third or fourth, fifth chance. However chances they need to succeed, that's how many chances I'll give them. So without my mum and dad, and a big love to my mum and dad, because they are still here and I'm still blessed for that, I just hope that I can now make them proud of what I've become. You know, I never thought this would happen to me. It doesn't happen. Shit like this doesn't happen to people like me, but it did. So I need to accept it and use it in a way where it can help inspire others to get where they want to get to, you know, and if I'm a conduit for that, then so be it. Oops.
When I've listened to you say responsibility a couple of times, and when I think of you again, you're doing that in terms of your experience of life and helping others, serving others in what you're doing with the True Podcast, particularly. What do you feel are the next chapters for you with your realisation? So with your awareness and your desire to enable others, what do you feel happens for you? What do you desire for the podcast and acting parts and other things that you do and things that perhaps you haven't even done yet?
That's a good question. For me, we'll start with my career first. My acting career, I would like to embrace it more than what I'm doing, like confidence-wise, because I'm still learning, and every set that I go on, I take something new that I didn't know before. And when I stop doing that, that's when I need to start self-analysing myself. So as long as I keep progressing as an actor and as a presenter, then I'm doing the right thing. You know, I don't really want to talk too much about what I've done or what I'm doing, because I want my work to talk for me. You know, once my work talks for me, all the bullshit goes on, really, you know, and that's what I like to stay focused on. You know, I'm not here to blow smoke up my own arse, and I'm not here to make myself look amazing. God will do that for me. And if I do get the chance to glorify everyone else, and then so be it. You know, that's just part and parcel of doing what you do for a living now. It's not all about me. It never was. I'd
be really, really interested on another occasion to talk about growing faith. And I guess faith has to grow.
Yeah, it's always a progression. Yeah. You know, a walk with faith in walk with Jesus is never stagnant. It's always moving forward. And you can always backslide. I'm not going to sit here and put myself on a pedestal, because there are some weeks and months, like recently, because I've been so busy at work, I've been living on the road and in and out of hotels for the last 5 or 6 weeks. So my church life has sort of took a bit of a hit, and I can feel that in my personal life. But I'm always in prayer. I'm always praying. I'm always praying for other people. I'm always praying for myself. So it's important, for especially when on the road, to try and stay in prayer. And I try and watch a lot of faith-based podcasts, so it keeps my receptors going. You know,
as well as praying, do you meditate as well?
No.
Okay.
I should do.
Okay.
I should fast a lot more than what I should do as well.
Okay.
And
but there's nothing that would prevent you from meditating
no,
in terms of
I've
your
never
belief?
practiced meditation. I've never practiced yoga. I've never practiced fasting. So there's 3 things along my journey again that I need to do. I need to progress into doing. I need to make it part of my daily routine. But I'm still adjusting from a normal job to what I'm doing now. So once I've fully mastered that, which is when I can start implementing other things to add to my day. But I'm running out of hours.
Yeah,
I've got to be honest.
It's effectively like, I'm not prescribing this, by the way, but 8 months ago I made a massive decision in my life. I stopped drinking alcohol, and I'm drinking alcohol again, but I chose for 6 months, no alcohol. Eat better, drink tons of water, go to the gym, exercise, because I felt like I needed to do something more with my body in the sense of be more healthy, which then would enable me to have the energy to do things. And everything in life is that, really, isn't it? It's establishing a routine of sorts. It is,
and whatever works for you is important.
That even possibly creates the slight discomfort when you don't do it. So for me, I guess, praying, meditating, yoga, it's there. It's always there. It's always there as a something we can go back to and practice.
Ellis gave me a book last time he was here, and it's put me back in touch with praying again. It's put me back in touch with the importance of prayer and what it does.
Do you mind sharing what the?
Yeah, what was the Book of 100 Prayer. But where did you get it from, Ellis? Amazon.
Okay.
So we got it from Amazon, and we was outside and we was talking, and I suppose, what's the book? I was reading through it, and a lot of prayers was just. I was saying, wow, this is what I need. I need to buy this. I need to look. You keep it. You need it more than me. I cried, mate. Honestly, I'm trying to keep it together a bit here now, but
you're an emotional person. I know that much. Which is again, I am going to use the term beautiful. I think it's beautiful. No, I do. I think it's beautiful to see and experience. It is lovely. I can see it. I can see it. In your
it
eyes.
Is because it. He didn't have to do that.
No.
He didn't need to do that, and I understand that he didn't need to do that. So when people do that, it's wow, it's powerful, man. Because
I've got tissue in my pocket.
No, I'm all right, man.
But I've blown my nose on it, so I don't.
Nice.
To add to you, I now understand. Just to conclude, and I'd love to.
Thanks, Alice.
Have the opportunity to do something like this with you again. I'm not attributing, but this is my understanding. True Podcast makes even more sense to me now.
Bless you.
I mean it. And even if that wasn't why you chose the name True Podcast, it makes more sense now with what you've shared. So really, really grateful to you for that. Grateful for the opportunity to have not a Zoom recorded, which there's nothing wrong with. Me looking at me and me looking at the other person split in two.
Well, I've never done that, so you've got one. You're one step ahead of me.
I'm in a studio with nice lighting, with you, with John, with Ellis, and we know MK Cypher has set us up as well. And I look forward to sharing with you your journey of the things you experience and the people you experience them with. And I'm looking forward to sharing mine and John's particularly experiences and doing that with the only slight rider. I don't want to ever be on a film set where I say to people, can you take the orange Smarties out and just with only the slight rider, which is that we're all doing that to share more together and encourage others to do likewise. Encourage them to open up and share themselves and and grow together and be a community effectively, which I know again you're creating with the True Podcast, which is amazing.
It is, because everyone at the moment, with all information at a touch of a button, we just seem to be isolated from a lot of, whether it's people, friends, family. And the hardest thing for someone really to do is to open up, especially if it's to the wrong person. So, you know, if you give them a safe space for them to talk and for them to open up, it helps them. It relieves pressure off their shoulders. So when they can go home or be in their natural space, they can close their eyes and go to sleep. And if I'm a conduit to help that happen, then that's what all this is. It's what it's all about. That's what it's there for. And like the name True Podcast, all I am is a host of an amazing show. I've got Ellis on, who's part of the team. I've got MK, who's an amazing producer. So it's not just me that makes all, you know, it's all of us. So if you know, if I'm the face of True Podcast, and I've got to do a good job, and I've got to be exactly who I say I am, and if I be anything else, I'm a fraud, and I don't want to do that. You know, if anyone wants to meet the hero, I want them to be exactly how I want them to be, and that's what you expect.
Not to be disappointed.
Yeah, I've disappointed too many people, and without fucking that into the list. So I want to be what they expect me to be, and as long as I keep doing that, so whether it's a guest or a fan or family or a friend, then that's what I'll do. That's why I'm here.
In one word.
One.
True.
Thank you.
Thank
God
you
bless.
so much, Paul.
Thanks,
Thank
man.
you.
God bless.
MK Cypher Films is an independent production company based in Enfield, London, UK. We produce documentaries, short feature films, social media videos, and provide photography studio space for weddings, christenings, and corporate videos.